What's up, everybody? I am back reacting to another Jake Munro video. This talking about you do not want a goth wife. Now, as a person who has like a thing for goth girls, I'm curious to know his thoughts on this and as to why it's not a good idea to have a goth wife. Because he'll probably be more of an expert on this than I. So I'm curious to know what his thoughts are. Maybe he's talking about a specific type of girl who's just not in it for the love of the culture, or just doing it because it looks cute, and try to run game on people by adopting the look to her own advantage. But follow me in the links in the description below, such as my YouTube channel and Twitch, where I react to videos, review comics, movies, TV shows, as well as stream video games on my YouTube and Twitch. And follow Jake Munro on his channel as well. So we'll get started and hear what he has to say.
Goth chicks, am I right? Yeah, they're the worst. Provably, actually. Their behavior is unbelievable. You know, I've said this on stream, by the way, watch my stream. But in the face of minor criticism, if their immediate reaction is to blow up at you, it's because they very rarely ever get questioned, and that's not a good way to live your life. This authoritative, how dare you question me? Why? What are you hiding? So we're gonna be reacting to some more goth girls today, I guess. We're gonna see what happens. Oh, so you're gonna search goth girls on Instagram Reels, Jake? No, I'm not. I'm actually just gonna type in goth. Because goth subculture is a matriarchy at the moment, and we know this. And because it's become a matriarchy, it's then also inherently become a leftist, liberal, extremist haven. And if you're a man who wants to thrive inside this subculture, then you'll say everything these want to hear. Isn't that right? Pedro Pascal, motherfucker. Not me, though. I'm a good old-fashioned rebel. A punk, if you will. I don't like to listen to what these screeching hoppies insist on what I should be doing and saying and acting and believing and supporting.
What's been the worst thing somebody said to you for being a goth?
Honestly, the worst thing someone can say to you for being a goth is nothing. If I don't get a comment when I'm on the street, I haven't done my job well enough. I'm not scaring enough people.
Did you get one today? Oh, you did get one today. I was just with you when you got one.
Yeah, I think someone threw something on me in the street, so I did my job, yeah.
Damn. We got a based goth right here. It's 100%. It's 100% true. If you're not being acknowledged for your gothness, either positively or negatively, your fit just ain't as good as you think it is. The bouncing, dude. I can't. Fuck.
Taxes was chasing updates. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert, doing it all for you. So you can chase.
Immediate, as soon as that part, I knew he was gonna say something. Oh boy, he is just not having it at all. Ah, God. It's gonna be a wild one.
The bouncing, like this is unforgivable. And it says appreciation for goth girls, but they're listening to emo stuff. Hashtag goth girls are first. Hashtag shit. Oh, man, do you know what? If
you watch the South Park episode about like goths and emos, you know it's like a huge no-no to confuse the two together. That is something they do not like. Just to lump them with each other, that's a no. To outside looking in, it might not seem all that different, but it is a huge difference. And the fact that this girl's listening to emo music while dressing as goth, you can tell she's a poser.
Getting a goth, listen to emo, who cares, right? Once again, I'm just trying to reiterate to goths out there that there's many different ways to get into the goth subculture, especially since we're miles away from the 80s, man. It's like the emo music, the bouncy titties. It's just everything. It's everything I hate. But I'll never stop you. That's the difference. I'll never stop you being goth. I'd never say you're not goth. I'd never say that. That's the difference. I'd never say you're not a goth. It's like, yeah, sure, fine, you're a goth. Fine. You're just not one I would want to hang out with. The fuck is this music? Man, Korn are not beating the goth allegations, I swear.
Hey, do you want to hang out?
Oh, yeah, I know a spot. Come on.
Where are we going?
You'll see. So you want to share life stories now? So do you like the spot? That's fine. I have another one.
You like the view? It's pretty high up.
Yeah. I know.
Somehow I knew that I was going to go that way. That got me. Somehow I knew that I was going that way because it seemed like that kind of psycho chick. I was like, sink of hell. I know. Okay, that got me. I'm sorry. That tickled me. I'm just kind of more. I don't know what.
Swap the genders. That's all I'm saying. And white liberal women, man. Oh my god. There will be textbooks written about the tangible cringe they were capable of, dude.
Me estoy acabando.
Just a white gal overwhelmed by the power of Polynesian. Fuck off, Becky. I bet she slept so well that night. I'm such a good person.
I'm an albatross. Lori said she was a mouse. I
don't know who this is, but I hate her immensely. Do you know what? That's not even true. I don't hate her at all. I hate her content. I actually feel really bad for this chick. Yeah. Yeah, this is a damaged individual. You know what? It's to the point where I feel really bad even watching this content. It's like watching a crackhead on the street scratching themselves, coming up to you for like, hey man, can I have $5? It's like, you know, this $5 is not going to be for sandwiches. You know they're not going to stop. You know something really bad happened to them to get them into this situation, and now they can't get themselves out. And no matter how far away they get from where they are right now, they do tend to just end up back there again because they just don't know anything else. There needs to be like a charity, like help aging OnlyFans girls, like 2070. Help aging OnlyFans girls. You know, it's like a woman, like an actress standing there, like from movies, like an actress from movies. And she's standing there and she's like, back in 2020, many young women, and they're going to be like, it wasn't even their fault. They were like coerced into doing it, right? It's like the complete lack of accountability. It's like many young women were tricked into making OnlyFans, exchanging their youth and their bodies for monetary gain. But by 2040, we all came to realize, weirdly, without listening to a single voice of reason at the time, that a woman's looks never stick around long enough to be appealing in the sex industry. And now all these women are homeless and they have no money because they have no careers or skills or prospects or qualifications. So we put together the Help a Hoe Foundation. For only $2 a month, you too can sponsor an OnlyFans chick. An aging OnlyFans chick. Due to the anti-natalism that was present in the liberal movement in the 2020s, none of these girls have any children to look after them and put them in care homes, so they're on the streets. And remember, it's not their fault. It's gonna happen, man. There's gonna be this shit. Seriously, 2040 is gonna come around, like 2050, and like the younger generation's tilt into more conservative values is going to hit and be the majority of people. It's going to be like society. So the OnlyFans industry is going to like crumble and decay and be completely destroyed because, you know, it's degenerative. And there will just be these OnlyFans girls with like literally nothing. You'll be walking down the streets of LA and you'll see like not even a prostitute, right? You'll just see like OnlyFans girls and like older OnlyFans girls, like because they're not like they're hot 25-year-olds anymore. They're like not so hot 45-year-olds, and they're like bouncing on the street for a sandwich. They're like stupid bouncing on the street. Cardboard sign like will bounce for sandwich.
When you shop in the Jewel Osco app, you can count on delivery in as soon as 30 minutes.
You know, it's interesting. It's interesting because I feel like we're seeing what happens whenever this kind of attitude is presented by men as well. Women are allowed to be as openly sexual as they want, and you can't say anything about that because of the outlawing of the word slut. You can't say that. You can't call a woman that anymore because it's derogatory, and it's like, yes, that's the point. And men can't sexualize themselves, and I can prove that because that's being perpetuated in the VTuber community. See, in the VTuber community, there's a bunch of really sexually explicit female VTubers that talk about suck dick and fuck and boobies and sexual innuendo and like showing their ass, all in a predatory attempt to garner and enthrall a male audience, regardless of age. It's funny how that's never brought up, isn't it? It's like, oh, they're just all sweaty, horny 14-year-old boys. It's like, yeah, we're not calling out why that's really bad that they're underage and you're sexualizing yourselves in front of them, ladies. God, it must be so nice to live under that double standard, right? It's hugely beneficial for yourself. But you see, whenever a male VTuber presents himself as sexual to straight women, there is almost always, several times per year, there's a witch hunt that goes on for these male VTubers for being sexual with a female audience. Because there might be an underage girl in there. You're a groomer and a It's like, I'm sorry. These men are merely just literally holding a mirror up to how you act on the internet. And no one calls you out on this shit. What I'm trying to say is it's equally bad to sexualize yourself in front of 14-year-old boys and 14-year-old girls. I'm using this age just arbitrarily here. This whole one rule for thee and another rule for me is just... This is again one of the imbalances of power, a construct that's been created to benefit a specific type of person and not benefit another type of person. We know who these types of people are. I see it every year, man, on Twitter, men just being attacked for being sexual with their audience the same way women do. But only men are being attacked for it, and they're groomers. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, ladies, we're just playing by the same rules that you're playing by. Oh, it's not about equality? It's not equal? It's not equal? It's not equal the way we're treated? So I'm sorry, ladies, but if you want to attack a man for being sexual on the internet, then you're going to have to accept the responsibility back, right? Whenever you're bouncing your titties, your big, stupid, inflatable titties, mesmerizing and enthralling an audience of young men who pay your bills, ironically. Still relying on men here. We get to call you out too and just be like, hey, maybe that's not cool. So which one is it? Which one do you want?
Goth wife. Everyone wants a goth wife until you realize that they only look like queens of the night 10% of the time, while the rest of the time is spent lurking around in Halloween-themed pajamas and hissing until they get snacks. I still want one.
I can guarantee you, fellas, you do not want a goth wife who just sits around all day doing jack shit, looking beat, scrolling the internet and consuming every single snack you bring her. I've been down that life, bro. It never changes. Day in, day out. Eating snacks, doing jack shit. It gets old. It gets real old. Hell, maybe it's fun for a year or two in your 20s, I guess, if she's hot enough. They usually never are. When you become a man and you want a woman, she's not gonna be that woman, bro. No, she'll be lying on her fat ass, inhaling bags upon bags of fast food while doom scrolling the internet non-stop. And you know who puts all that shit in the trash? Well, she does. Just joking. It's you. You have to clean it all up. Do you feel like doing that, fellas? Do you feel like enabling a lifetime of decadence and getting nothing in return? Jackpot, you got a goth girlfriend. Up top, you ret. I still want one though. You're being told you want one, my man. They're serial moochers. Did anyone listen to Peter Murphy's brand new album, Silver Shade? I did a listening party for it over on Twitch. I may have been the only person doing this, actually. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't hear of anyone else doing it. It's really damn good. There's your music recommendation. Peter Murphy, the lead singer of Bauhaus. His brand new album, Silver Shade, it just came out a couple of weeks ago. It's really, really good. Did a live listening party for it on Twitch. It was incredible. Fun fact, goth girls are just basic girls, except with a massive ego and this sense of entitlement that never goes away, and when challenged, presents itself as a feral animal. When she can do both, and you can pull neither. I do love the consistency of this meme, though, I gotta say, man. Because it's always like that, you know? For the most part, anyway. For the most part, it's like that. Granny Gam Gam gets it, man. Granny Gam Gam was a f***ing harlot back in the day. Absolute Jezebel. She was a f***ing fiery 1960s bitch. She had men eating out of the palm of her hand. She was a heartbreaker, that one. Riding on the back of the bad boys Harley. Free love and all that kind of degenerate shit. And if you take your punk or goth kid or alt kid to Gam Gam, Gam Gam loves it. In fact, some of the shoes you're wearing, like your clothes, probably remind her of some of the shit she was wearing, right? I've definitely had it before. I think the majority of compliments I've ever had respecting my goth drip when I was a youngin', stomping the streets of the metropolitan area, it was always from older people. Like old women. We're always like, do you know what, even an old dude. I've had a couple of old dudes just being like, hell yeah. You're killing it. Looking cool. And I'm like, yeah. Keeping it alive. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I had a great day today because I made it a great day. I do apologize that there's no extension on these videos. I am very, very busy. I'm working like a bunch of different projects at the moment. So, you guys are the best. I'll catch you next time. Bye.
Yeah, man. I wish you didn't say that. It's kind of... I mean, you need to be informed because you don't want to get scammed. So it's good knowledge. But, oh, God, maybe it's just one of those kind of girls that is good for a short time, not a long time. Unless she's like a base chick. But that was probably a rarity in like a goth girl. Because she probably has some kind of level of an ego. You know, on Instagram, doing like dances, bouncing her tits for the world to see and whatever. Yeah. Ugh. But I want to look at one more video. Not sorry. More goth.
Are we good? We're rolling, we're rolling. Hey everyone, welcome back. More Jake Munro goodness coming at you. We're gonna be exploring yet more visual representation of how women are single-handedly ruining the goth subculture by themselves, while simultaneously claiming that they're not. It's like they're not even trying to fight the stereotype. Boom! Ah! Men need to stop treating women like sex objects. Proceeds to present themselves almost exclusively as sex objects. I can imagine there's like a lot of women probably in chat getting pretty upset, right? It's like, oh, this is just a man issue. It's a man problem, and who cares, right? Because it's a man problem. If I've come to understand that, I do realize if men have an issue in society, who cares? It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But I get a lot of comments and DMs from women sharing their sentiments with how women are presenting themselves on the internet and how that's been affecting them. The expectation that this has been creating, this has been providing certain types of men on the internet, the way you don't respect men who buy your OFs, the type of men that are corn addicted, the way these OF chicks look down on these types of men. Men also look down on the women that provide them with these kinds of services. It's like a two-way street of shame. You both look down upon each other, and it's spilling over to the women that don't do this kind of stuff. There's like an expectation. It's like your alternative on the internet. Where's the immediate, easy access at a low, low price with a discount if I sign up now, where I can see your naked nude body I need that. This is the expectation that's been cultivated. Oh, but men need to stop consuming it. Look, this is what we call responsibility. This is what I was saying before. Women want the power of men, but not the responsibility. It is your responsibility not to provide men with this. Yeah, you don't get to buy your Mercedes and parade around using the word entrepreneur to describe how you bought your mansion with your cooter, but just know your actions have consequences for everybody. But then again, this probably does come with some level of like a complete lack of empathy. Like, you don't care, right? You get your bag, you got your bag, right? The bag has been acquired. Who cares? Also, I'm dressed like a Floridian here, just like shorts and a vest top, because it's raining here and it's incredibly humid. It's insanely humid here, so I'm dressed like this to, you know, to stop the makeup from sweating from my face. My masculine makeup. My makeup required in order to qualify me as goth on the internet by your standards. Goth is only about the music. It's only about the music and nothing else. It's only coincidental that we're all wearing the same makeup. It benefits the stupid if they can get you to play along, because then they don't feel stupid. Oh, that goth track. Oh, y'all want a single by Korn? Oh man. Now it's sad that I have to clarify this kind of stuff, but I do understand it because, like, you know, there have been people who have rejoined my channel over the past couple of months who haven't seen it in a few years, and they're like, why is Jake being so elitist? It's because I like to parody this shit. See, whenever someone tells me or insists upon me that has some level of backing from like a Reddit account or a TikTok account or something that has like a bunch of followers on it, they like to be like, oh, goth is this, and not this. So whenever I react to this kind of stuff, whenever I react to like the most relevant representations of goth in the subculture that's being presented here, I like to point out how their definitions for it are almost never upheld. And that my definition of it is actually probably more accurate. There were a shit ton of goths that listened to Korn back in the day, but there is a core belief of like elitist gatekeepy goth boys, mainly girls actually, that are like, it's Korn, it's new metal, it's not actually goth. You can't see. Here's my goth cop badge. Oh, new content idea. Hold it right there, mister. That's Korn. That's new metal. It's not goth. You can't do that. So I get this unique sense of pleasure from calling out goths on the internet for not upholding the standard of goths that I've been held to. I enjoy that. I also just don't like goths in general. I've had a very uniquely negative experience with almost every single goth I've ever interacted with. I've been involved with like a few subcultures over the years. You know, that kind of stuff does happen. They do share relatively close proximity, aesthetics and music. Sometimes there's a lot of overlap. I'd say the only group of people that are probably equally as dickheaded have been punks, but even that could have been circumstantial. It seems unanimous in the case of goth. Metalheads though, man, I know how they click, man. I love metalheads. I love riling them up. And I know where I stand in the metalhead culture too. But yeah, long story short, TLDR, summarized version. You can listen to Korn and be goth. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me at all. But I know it bothers elitists, and that's what I love. That's my favorite part. It's also funny to me that it's like, it's about the music! Goth is the music, it's the music. And then none of the music's being used. So I'm like, right, so you're saying that like 95% of goth representation on social media is wrong? So it's like just nullified. It's like nothing. You're looking at nothing. It's just static. Your boyfriend, if he says he's this bouncing. Oh my god! Imagine reducing yourself this far. Scared of him. Feminist and be doing this. This woman's not a feminist. There's no way. This like bouncing like a toy, like you're a toy trying to get like male attention. There's no way you can be a self-respecting feminist and doing shit like that. There's no way. That is the open declaration with no words, only actions, that you are subservient to men, and not even good men, like bad men who give in to their base desires and have no respect for women above the fact that they're just sex objects. You're perpetuating this view of women. There is no way one can maintain their feminist card and create content like this. There's nothing empowering about this. And the kinds of men giving in to this kind of temptation as well is further degrading the male side. As like, you're basically bringing everyone down with you, appealing to like the male animalistic side of breed. All the right stuff is bouncing, I must buy it on discount in a 3-month bulk. Hey, look at that. If I DM, I get like special requests and stuff. Awesome. No, I know like the obvious, which I haven't even seen brought up, to be honest, so I'm gonna bring it up. I have an OF. But you see, here's the big difference. There's no male expectation to maintain the sexual integrity of men. If anything, I am empowered as the gender minority within a field, right? You know how there's always like celebrating women in this male-dominated field day. It's like, oh, we're celebrating women in artistry. Here's a
celebrating men in Men's Day in Office, Birthday in Islam by Mufti Mink. Celebrating Christmas mentioned in the Bible. Celebrate International Men's Day. Ideas for Celebrate International Men's Day. Celebrating men in our lives. Celebrate International Men's Day quotes. Celebrating black men in Hounslow. Men in suits celebrating. Why are Othello's men celebrated in Act 2? Celebrating women in science, business, sports, construction, structure, finance. Conservation Breakfast 2025 in the Bible in March. History in the workplace. Wow.
Day dedicated to all the female mechanics out there, right? Just like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like they celebrate the female minority in a male-dominated world. Is like, can you believe they're actually doing this? Which, honestly, if I was a woman, that would be unbelievably patronizing. I'm like, what are you trying to insist here? What are you trying to insinuate? That as a female, I'm less likely, less capable, so it's amazing I'm even here contending with the boys? Essentially, to me, all you're celebrating is just, wow, a woman actually is interested in this. What's there to celebrate? And you could apply the exact same logic to me infiltrating the UF culture, because it's female-dominated. Where's my day, Let's celebrate all the straight boys on OF, a day dedicated to all the boys who are here. The difference is that male sexuality is not as easily exploited, nor is it as openly accepted. So I find it empowering. And if I was a feminist, wouldn't you see that as this gender equality that you're all meant to be working towards? When's that meant to happen? Like, we all bought that explanation, that excuse back in like 2016 on Tumblr. It's like, we're fighting for equality, actually, as a way to pacify male intrigue and male criticism of like the new modern feminist movement. It's like, no. It's like, don't worry, boys. We're fighting for both sides. It's like, okay, all right. And sure enough, of course, that's not what happened.
Everyone's always asking me, Swaggy, how do I find a goth girl? Where do I find goth girls? Well, let me tell you right now. We actually don't leave our house because...
So the same chick from the previous video. Which kind of looked like a goth deer. With the nose and the eyes. I don't know, it's kind of looked like a goth deer for some reason.
we burn in the sunlight. It is like 80 degrees outside right now and the sun is shining. We can only go out at night. And also, me personally, I'm antisocial, so I avoid all human interaction. So in order for you to find a goth girl, quick answer is you don't. Hope this helps. Also, just a quick little PSA, I actually just don't wear trad goth makeup out in public, nor do I wear my typical makeup like ever. So in order for you to find an actual goth girl, you have to go talk to them and see if they're goth.
She called herself Swaggy? That was a choice. See, the question is, where can I find a goth girl? The question should be, should you find a goth girl? I've been over this before, man, but whenever you're trying to, as a man, date within a scene where it's acceptable to shit on men, there is also a coinciding mommy-dommy fetish prevalent within the scene. So not only are men looked down upon because there's more of them than there are of you, and politically speaking, because a lot of these chicks are like far left psychopaths, as a man, you should die if you're not useful. Which, actually, weirdly thinking about it, that's kind of pretty traditional, right? Like, a man has always had to be useful in order to be seen as valuable in society. But then you've also got this prevalent fetish of mommy-dummy shit, where, like, the man has to suck up and grovel to the female matriarch. And they decide how much, what crumbs, what morsels of affection you're allowed to receive, right? So I would say to men out there, actively don't date goth women. I've done it before. They are so far up their own asses that it wouldn't even matter if they went out during the day in the sun, because none of it would be hitting them, because they're firmly up their own asses. The matriarch that is currently comprising the goth subculture at the moment needs a reality check, and his name's Jake Munro. But there needs to be this whole attitude from men being like, so you're goth, what else can you do? Right? Oh, you want to be treated like a queen? Why? Why should I? See, now, these are interesting takes, right? This is a good place to practice your individualism, because this isn't even just... In Ireland as well, there is the South, right? It's the South in America and the South here. When you're away from, like, the bougie metropolitan areas where it's, like, cool and hip and amazing and everything is, you know, catered to, regardless of what niche that you're a part of, what niche subculture that you're a part of, whatever obscure interest you have, you can find an indulgence for it. Whenever you're from rural areas, it's way, way harder. It's way more difficult to express yourself. It's not that there isn't any of that there. It's more just that there's a culture that's been created around the fact that you don't do it. You can't do it, because out in those areas, most people, most families, the culture is based around being a working culture, right? Whether you're in agriculture or, which is a big one, actually, agriculture being a really big one, like farm families, family-owned businesses, the lack of nightclubs to go to, where there's a far lower population where you can't rely on high population in order to explore your more deviant side or forego having a family young. You know, you could potentially topple an entire family bloodline doing that kind of stuff, and you're just no longer part of the village. But this is what I went through, and I'm saying this completely unironically. I was the only goth in the village, like, for real. And this is another reason why it's just so unbelievably unfair to enforce your standards of subculture onto literally any other individual that you don't understand, because whereas some people have grown up in the inner city and have experienced the forefront of subculture progression, there are some people who only get like a trickle-down effect, like, you know, the whispers and the occasional glimpse at what these subcultures are and how you can get into them and what defines these things. And you are this country boy in the middle of nowhere who has a basic grasp of what this thing is, but it speaks to you enough that you want to pursue it and represent it in your small little tiny boy town. But that's what it was like for me, man. And this shit's real. Rural society does not really have a lot of space or the ability to risk this kind of stuff. It doesn't have space for it to grow. So it usually is just assigned to, like, the occasional individual who is allowed to express these kinds of things. And it is usually faced with ostracism, because a lot of people see this as a risk, right? It's like you're trained to identify things that are different and therefore bad for your culture, for your community. If you share this reel, you'll be the grammar aside, I mean, how many times have we come across this sentiment? I've had to cut a lot of these reels out. Like, it's like an easy cast for views and likes here. Like, a lot of chicks do it and they all get likes and views for it, which ultimately I think outweighs the integrity of the goth subculture. Is like, as long as you're getting likes and views, who gives a shit? Pretty much the same mentality you could apply to, like, the OnlyFans chicks. Who cares what it's doing for the image of women online? As long as you get your Mercedes G-Class, right? Your G-Wagon. You've made it. You're an entrepreneur. But this, like, arrogance, this narcissism, it's like, your reward is to be touched by a chubby goth chick. That's right, dudes. Would you love that if, like, you got a thick, quote-unquote, thick, which I think was just the worst word to happen. Hashtag bring back the word fat. How can you make yourself feel better about being overweight and fat? Oh, just change the terminology and our attitude towards this new word. It's another perfect example of just this manipulation of language in order to protect people's feelings. But do you want that, boys? Do you want, like, a girl that thinks even just you touching her is, like, a privilege, but then she's also thick, so you have to provide her dietary needs per day? Oh, we got the job for it. This bitch eats like a hog, fisting handfuls of KFC or McDonald's fries in her mouth, while she then rolls her eyes and like, I guess I'll let you touch my foot. Oh, you're so lucky, fellas. This should be the last type of woman you should be interested in going for. Strong persuasion that late 90s, mid to late 90s and 2000s goth was probably like the goth heyday. It was like the best. Because this wasn't like the original 80s boom where like you had post-punk bands which sounded like shit. Stop yelling at me, right? Even they think it sounded like shit because they all changed to gothic rock by like the early 80s because it just sounded better. And even then, a lot of the big gothic rock bands all stopped releasing shit by like the mid 80s. Like, most of them did. And the ones that kept going after the 80s, their sound had changed so far, and the goth movement had kind of just like not really carried over. And then like Trent Reznor and Manson was like a thing in the 90s, and then everyone like dusted off their winkle pickers and their black lipstick. Well, they had to repurchase it because it dried out by that point. And there was like another big boom of it, right? And it makes me so mad to think that there's this elitist modern goth who's like almost half my age, insisting that that was in no way goth at all because, like, it wasn't part of the 80s. None of the 80s. It's because none of the 80s bands were even making music. And yet, despite their absence, the goth subculture was alive and thriving. There was no internet full of self-righteous goth elitists insisting on what goth is and isn't. People were just like...
Yeah, like... like late 80s into the early 2000s, goth was definitely peak goth. It's like, oh god, I miss that era. Especially when you see it like on like movies and TV shows around that era that really propped up that. I mean, there was jokes made about people of that culture, but they didn't give a crap, you know, because you was either talking about them, you either hate it or you love it. As long as you're talking about it, that was perfectly fine. But it's just the aesthetic just looks so cool. It's just like the outfit, the makeup, the hair, and like all, and with the attitude, all was this nice cauldron of like a perfect soup of cool aesthetic. And it is at the height, and rarely you see anybody like being posers about it. Unless you was dating somebody that you was trying to fit in, so you took part in it. And maybe you got into it, you know. But by and large, it was just like, it's one hell of an era. Ah, man. And now we got these OnlyFans chicks or these like Instagram girls or TikTok girls just bouncing their boobies on the internet, playing emo or goth music, and doing a little makeup and stuff like that just to entice dudes just to get more likes. It's pathetic, honestly, and it kind of hurts me to the core because I like that look on a chick, but if they just doing it for the likes, it's just like, okay, do you really mean it? Are you really a part of this world, or are you just doing it for the lulz?
Like, I guess this is like the new goth music now. Great. They were just getting into it, having fun. There was like lots of cool, fun bands and like lots of really cool, fun stuff. And like goth subculture was just so unbelievably prevalent and popular back then that it was even permeating into popular media. It was like everywhere. It wasn't obscure. It was such a massive boom for the subculture that it was like culturally relevant. And I think that's notable and definitely not something that should just be dismissed. There was no OF, no social media. It was like, I'm putting all this cool stuff on to actually go out, because why would I put this stuff on to just sit inside? The whole point was to put it on and go out so that other people could see it and you could be a part of the scene and you could take like a bunch of pills and have like a really great time at the nightclubs and stuff and maybe attend an orgy on Saturday night, you know, just to carry you through to Sunday. You know, just like cute things like that. I still think that goth had its most prevalent time in human history, in modern history, from the mid to late 90s and the early 2000s. I think that was like the best time for it. I think Gen Xers honestly had like the best version of goth. Mid to older millennials like myself were kind of there to catch the tail end of it, to like see it leave, and we're like, was that the... Yeah, it was. And then you can like copy that. But there was like none of this ain't goth, that's not goth, goth is this, goth isn't that. It was just, oh damn, look all this cool goth shit that's coming out at the moment. What do you mean goth? Define that real quick actually before you pursue it. Like there was none of that. Leave your comments down below. What do you think was the best era for goth subculture? Because it's coming in waves. It comes in waves. There's only one right answer, and it's my opinion. Anyway guys, if you want to watch another 5 more minutes of this, there is an extended and uncensored version of this. They're saying that I've not sworn once in this video, I don't think. But there is an extended version out now. Actually, it came out yesterday. You get early access to these videos the day before they come out. You can either click join down below to become a member.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I think... Yeah, definitely in the 90s is definitely, like, really hit, like, its stride. But it wasn't until, like, getting to the mid-2000s when you see the downward slope of it. I think, like, especially, what was that, Queen of the Damned? That's definitely when, like, it reached its, peak. There's, like, boom, right there. Because when that movie came out, everybody wanted to dress in that kind of style. It was just like, oh god. And Aaliyah made it kind of cool for like black girls can get into like the whole goth look. Not saying they couldn't before, but I think like Queen of the Damned and The Craft really kind of, you know, let girls like dive into that kind of stuff. Then of course, parents of that time really was like, oh, that's kind of no. They think like you're worshiping the devil, or oh, they didn't understand all that stuff. But it's just like, you know, I'm an older millennial, and the mid to older millennials appreciate that kind of stuff. We grew up, you know, seeing that and seeing it in our pop culture. Sure, there are times we kind of make fun of that kind of stuff, but at the same time, there was an air of respect. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. I will see you guys in a little bit for another reaction video. Take care, and I'll see you all soon.